Public speaking is my biggest fear. No, I'm not scared about forgetting information or standing in front of a crowd. Rather, I'm terrified of messing up the one key part of public speaking, which is speaking. Hi, my name is Erin Reid, and if you haven't noticed already, I have a stutter. Stuttering is a speech disorder that disrupts the flow of your words when you talk. For most people, a stutter will come about early in their childhood and disappear after a few months. But for 0.3 to 1% of people, stuttering becomes a lifelong condition. I am part of that population. I've had my stutter for as long as I can remember. It started when I was in kindergarten, and it has impacted me ever since. For a while, I looked at my stutter as only a burden in my life. It's something that embarrasses me and makes me feel like an outcast to the world. But over time, I have learned that my stutter is far from just this. In fact, today, I look at my stutter as one of my greatest friends in the world. You may be thinking that this doesn't make any sense. And if you are, I don't blame you. When we first think of the word friend, all we think about is positivity. But we have to remember that friends are not perfect, and they have many sides to them that we may or may not like. We all have that friend who is constantly with you, to the point that it starts to become very annoying. This is exactly what my stutter does. In any situation, from giving a TED Talk to giving an order at a restaurant, there is always the chance that I will mess up on a word or two. But the more frustrating part is that my friend is very unpredictable. Sometimes I know exactly what words I'm likely going to stutter on because of the letter the word starts with. Usually these are vowels, but sometimes these letters switch. For example, some months it can be words that start with E, like in my name, Erin. And sometimes it is words that start with M, like mom. But other times, it happens out of nowhere, and I get caught in a spiral of incongruent speech. Friends can also, unfortunately, be controlling. For me, my stutter can control me physically. As you've probably heard already, I repeat sounds or syllables of words, but other times, I completely pause in my speech. You may have noticed that I sometimes tuck my chin like this and roll my eyes back. Experts call these blocks. Imagine that you have a rock on top of your head, pushing it down, all while having a hard time breathing. Trust me, it is not fun. And the worst part is that at that moment, I have no control until someone starts talking again, or I eventually say the word. My stutter has been my shadow for my entire life and always makes me question, why me? Why can't I talk normally? I know what I want to say, so why won't it come out? I can see why it would probably be hard to imagine that there is an enjoyable side to my situation. I mean, how could you find positivity in a world of fear, embarrassment, and frustration? But just like all friends, they have a good side that allows them to be our friends. For me, my stutter has taught me many valuable lessons that can carry throughout my life beyond just speaking. It has taught me to be more courteous towards people and how to be more resilient in difficult situations. More than that, it has taught me some creative alternatives that have helped me reduce my stuttering. One of these is surprisingly singing. According to research, different parts of the brain are used for singing and stuttering, causing stutterers not to trip over their words while singing. In fact, famous singers like Kendrick Lamar and Ed Sheeran have both experienced stuttering. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to break into a song, but if I were to talk like this, and slow down the pace that I'm talking in, it is almost guaranteed that I won't stutter at all, and my speech will be a lot more fluid. Pretty cool, right? Thank you. I've also become really strong with my use of synonyms. As the years have gone on, I have learned to use different words that I don't usually stutter on to make my speech flow more often when I talk. For example, instead of saying I'm waking up early tomorrow, I would say I'm getting up before my usual time tomorrow. My stutter has helped me grow both as a person and as a speaker, and has shaped me into the creative, thoughtful, and empathetic person I strive to be every day. The last thing about friends is that we accept them for who they are. I've always dreamed about having a day where I could be a normal kid and say whatever I want with ease. I could have easily gone to speech therapy to reduce or completely get rid of my stutter, but I told my parents that I didn't want to. Maybe it was partially because I was afraid, but as I got older, I realized that my stutter is part of who I am. It wasn't easy accepting this fact. Through many deep cries and conversations, I learned to accept that this would be a lifelong problem for me. And you know what? That's okay, because my stutter makes me, me. So now, I challenge you to think of your own stutter. What is something about yourself that you wish you could fix? The reason why you do this is the negative side of your friendship. But now, I want you to think, if your stutter has good parts to it, have you learned something or gained something from this? This part may be hard to find, but it's critical to recognize both sides of this friendship. Now, I want you to think, is this something that makes up me? The answer should be yes, but more importantly, you should understand that this is a small portion of the big picture of who you are. I'm proud to call my stutter my friend, because I wouldn't be where I am today without it. Thank you.